match between Team Liquid versus Kaipi, but in the end going 2-0 in favor of Team Liquid. And now we have ixmike coming on. How's it going, man?
Good, how are you?
Doing pretty good, doing pretty good. Those games weren't the most nail-biter, but they were definitely very, very interesting. I mean, that was, what, you guys didn't lose a single tower that second game?
Yeah, that's correct.
Cool, cool. So yeah, just kind of showing a little bit of dominance there. How do you feel about Kaipi as a team?
I think they're pretty good. They're a little underrated. I don't... Most people might rate them off before like the series starts, but we have lost to them in the past. I don't think they're bad. And they are new, so they still have like strategies they can prepare better and make efficient, all that stuff. Team chemistry.
Sure, sure. So what team would you compare them to as far as like what tier would you kind of rank them in as?
I think they're tier 2. If like Miles and Fnatic and Dignitas and ourselves and Navi are tier 1, they would be like a tier below. I'm not sure who I would compare them to off the top of my head.
Okay, no problem. Well, yeah, obviously still a relatively new team. They're going to improve their synergy and hopefully bring more to the table. But in this scenario, it was not the most difficult of situations. What was the hardest part about this game? I guess I should ask.
The second one?
Well, the match in general, I guess.
We were kind of afraid of their Batrider, and we know they like to take PL a lot. So we didn't want to give them Cuddle PL, and we don't want to give like Bone 7 as Batrider. It was pretty scary.
Sure.
So it's hard to, a little bit difficult to like draft around that.
So as far as the draft goes, right now, like Fluff and stuff hasn't been in the drafting seat, but I'm assuming you guys are all pretty good about collaborating on it?
Yeah, usually it'll be like TC, but then he'll ask if someone wants to play, if someone thinks a hero's good in this position, or if Korok wants to play Stormsphere or whatever. Or if we think like Leshrac or Lion is good or anything like that, like specific heroes.
Sure. So, I gotta say, that Game 2 Leshrac, oh my gosh, those stuns. Like, there were some that was like, okay, you know, standard tri-lane stuff, you're set up by Fluff, but then there were, like, there's the one where Brewmaster comes out of his Primal Split, and the second he does, you immediately stun him out so he can't kill one of your allies. It's just like, how do you time that kind of stuff in your head?
You just, like, look at the timer on the Pandal. It was, like, a little bit lucky, because I'm not good at those stuns, but I hit it anyway. So I'm glad you noticed. Oh
yeah, no, I was talking about that for like the next minute straight. That's perfect timing. I mean, that saved somebody's life. That just really makes a big impact. And it's kind of the little things. Obviously, supports don't get nearly as much recognition, but those things kind of those pick apart the team fight. I mean, in general, your team in general was very, very good at controlling the way the combat progressed. Unless you were kind of like face walling on a tier 3 mid. But in general, most of the fights, unless they got the best Magnus initiation possible, you guys had great control over that. And a big part of that is those really powerhouse stuns. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, what do you think was probably one of the hardest things about playing support right now?
Hardest things. I mean, there's the general stuff of like having to like position yourself where you don't like feed without having many items. But as far as like the current game, like the current meta game, you have to like be really efficient with your movements. Otherwise, if you waste a lot of time, they'll like pressure you before you pressure them, and then you lose a lot of towers, or you're always on the defensive, or they have like some Phantom Lancer who's like free farming for a few minutes, and then you have a problem. So you just have to be like really keen on what you're doing and being efficient and trying to take the initiative.
Sure, most definitely. A lot of people are interested in like picking up Wisp as a hero. It's a very complex hero that has a lot of potential. What would you say about people that want to learn more about that little blue ball of love?
You just have to practice it. I know when I first played him, like I hated the hero. I didn't know like what he did. I don't know like how to use him or anything, but I played it like 30 times or something in like in-house leagues, and I got better at microing the balls, and yeah, I just play it a lot, and you'll get comfortable with it.
What about like the global aspect of it, trying to keep an eye on things across the map while focusing on what's going on by you as well? Is there
It's
anything about that?
usually your allies can like set up stuff for you or like coordinate it with you, and so you don't have to do it all alone. But sometimes If you like wait too long or hesitate for a second or something, when your ally or your team is relying on you, then you messed up.
So, what about the kind of shift that I've seen between your pickups as far as supportive heroes and Fluff's? Like, it used to be like there were times where Fluff would pick up the Wisp and you would pick up the Nyx and things like that. Why is that shifting? Just trying out different things, or?
Um, like I said, I usually play the Wisp like in-house leagues and private games and stuff. So we thought that I would be better on it, like mechanically, and also. Fluff usually played it, but except for when I was like Keeper of the Light, then I would play it. I would play the Keeper of the, or I mean, sorry, I would usually play it unless there was Keeper of the Light, in which case I would play it. So it just like depends on the hero sometimes, but usually it's myself.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense there. As far as taking Keeper of the Light out a lot, you were talking about how you're kind of afraid of the Phantom Lancer and a little bit of the Bat Rider as well. So that Keeper gets taken off the board. Is it kind of frustrating for you to never get to play those really, really powerful heroes, or you just kind of acknowledge the enemy's strength as much as your own and just want to make sure that you're not getting outdrafted?
No, I don't really like get attached to heroes or anything like that. I mean, it's important that they don't get to do what they want to do more than I get to play what I want to play. So I'm okay with it. And plus, I play ST like every game, so I like him.
So, as far as how would you say the team is doing? Like right now, like specifically March had a lot of great things for you guys in store for you guys, and a couple of upsets and stuff like that. So, kind of ups and downs here and there. Looking at April, moving forward from there, what are you guys thinking about?
I think in the past week or two, our results have been pretty good, except like NTH is owning us, so we have to learn how to beat them. But upcoming, we have like D12 playoffs and TPL playoffs and G1 playoff or G1 tournament and the DreamHack playoffs. So we have like all these like important matches coming up, and we just have to like scrim more and practice more strategies and stuff.
Sure. Here's a good question. It's kind of shifting topics quite a bit, but drafting up that Tinker in the tri-lane, I'm actually curious about it. What was the driving factor for that? What made you guys think that that was the best course of action for your draft in that game?
We didn't want PL to have like a free lane, and also Bulba's Tinker is really good, and also like the Tinker tri-lane itself is pretty good. It's not bad as it might look on like first impression. And Tinker itself is good in the mid game against PL with the March. It like deals with the illusions pretty well. So it's just really good against PL, and the lane is strong enough to give PL a hard time, but they made mistakes and they got out of control pretty quickly.
Yeah, I've seen the defensive tri-lane Tinker, but it definitely seemed interesting to run him in that regard. It made a lot of sense as things started coming together, but at first I was just not very, very certain about it. I knew Bulba's Tinker was really good, but it really came down to you guys' stun initiation and really playing that 3v3 really well. Is it a lot harder to do in high ping scenarios, like on the European servers?
It's okay as a Leshrac. I would probably be the only one with a problem, but since we have like a Nyx, it's fine. To set up, and then yeah, I don't know, maybe last hitting is harder for Bulba, but I don't have a problem with the server.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I can't last hit on a Tinker with like 0 ping, but it's like friggin' animation. But yeah, no. Yeah, obviously still it worked out very, very nicely. I mean, you guys just destroyed that PL in the early game. EE couldn't get off the ground as far as farm goes, and from there, you guys just really had a lot of potential there. It seemed like the biggest issue in those team engages was the primal split and the reverse polarity. Was there any kind of positioning or communication about those cooldowns and such that you guys tried to avoid their impact as much as possible?
We tried to push when they were down. We can't really avoid them when they're up. I mean, we just have to like tank it. But when they're down, we tried to get as much out of it as we could. But sometimes we like wasted too much time, or it got picked off or something. Like there was one time when we were pushing bottom racks, and their panda, he split and we lost the fight, and then we decided to come back. But Nyx went to their jungle looking for the Magnetar, and they got counter ganked, and Nyx and Storm both died. So instead of pushing the bottom racks, when Panda Alt was down, we just had to like wait, like finish our items instead.
Sure. So, one thing about your guys' draft, about specifically what it seems Fluff and stuff is picking up more and more. He used to be like really into the micro-oriented heroes, Visage, Enchantress, and I'm trying to remember the other one for some reason. But anyways, yeah. There's a third one that they kept on banning out. It was like really like in a lot of your games in early March, it seemed like there was a respect ban in Phase 2 of 3 heroes over and over, taking them out of the hands of Fluff. Why don't we see him taking the opportunity to pick those up nowadays? Is it because you guys are running more aggressive tri-lanes and jungles aren't going to be nearly more stable? Like, why was a Visage not as good of a pick? Because obviously you went with the Leshrac Nyx. Is it because of the setup stun, or I don't know? I'm just trying to understand Leshrac versus Visage, other than the fact that you guys were planning on playing different heroes.
Lesh, in that game specifically, Lesh is good for... He might be a little bit weaker in the lane in terms of Edict is really good for sieging with the Baron Tinker. So like synergizes better with the team. And also Visage as a... If Visage was in the game, then Fluff would be playing it, and then Nyx would be a 5, and it's just a little bit more weaker as a support.
Yeah, we definitely saw once he got his blink up that he could definitely initiate more effectively and find better openings. So that's a good point to make as well. You went, as far as your Leshrac goes, for a Lightning build early and then transitioned into an Edict-oriented build. Do you have any thoughts on that?
At first, I thought Edict wasn't going to be good because it's hard for me to like run up and like use it. I prefer to just like stay in the back and spam Lightning, but since they like got owned so bad, that edict on the towers would be like really easy and effective.
Cool. Well, obviously there were a lot of good decisions that you guys made, and it all panned out in the end. So I'm glad that you guys were able to take it so smoothly without too many road bumps. But was there anything you feel you learned in that game, or is it just another notch in the cartridge?
I learned. I don't know, nothing much. It was like they lost their tri-lane, and then that's that.
Yeah.
The game ended.
It seems like you learn more from losses than you do from victories there, so I guess that makes sense.
You do.
Moving on over to IXDL, how's that progressing?
Oh, that's good. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, are you happy about how that's been working out? I mean, a lot of people have taken a lot of interest.
For those who don't know, it's like an in-house league, same as any other for like North America, and sometimes Europeans play there. So the server is US East, and the difference between all of them and mine is that it's not IRC based, it's like its own thing. And it makes it easier for like the users to interact and all that stuff. And for me, like right now, I think it's going pretty well. We have a lot of activity, and yeah, and I have plans for like other stuff, but there's not much time to do it.
Okay. Well,
I know some people like they ask about is there going to be like a junior league or an open league or whatever, because it's like invite, so you have to be like high skill and all this stuff. But I do plan on making like an open league, but I don't know when it is. And I think that would be like attractive to a lot of people, because I know there was like the Team Liquid in-house league and stuff that was like open to anyone. But the problem is like the same, like you're stuck on IRC and you have all these like naming issues with stuff. Just the stuff that limits IRC.
Yeah, I gotta say, comparing the two, for people who haven't started, I mean, for people familiar with IRC, it's no big deal, but for anybody that just wants to jump into it, it kind of feels a little archaic, a little bit of referencing the good old Warcraft 3 days. So, moving forward with it, you think that it's going well, and you do have some plans for the future. It's just about kind of getting the time for it and making sure you build the interest.
I have plans, but it's just a matter of when I'm not scrimming, when I'm not like studying and all this stuff, to actually like do it.
Is there actually that much free time in your schedule at all, or is it?
No, there's not much.
That's what I figured. So that's probably going to be A little bit later, but it's understandable.
Yeah.
You have a lot going on with a lot of other things. So hopefully, school's going well. It definitely looks like Dota is. So you guys have been performing very, very nicely and back in the game. So very, very nice, convincing win versus ixmike88 Gaming. Do you have any other thoughts or shoutouts before you want to take off?
I'll shout out to my sponsors: Shiny Things, Twitch, Razer, Barracuda, and shout out to my good friend Brewstar. He's not going so well, but he'll make it.
Cool, cool. All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate you doing this interview. And like I said, congratulations on your win versus ixmike88. Moving on up those rankings. We're hoping to see you guys in the playoffs. It definitely seems more and more likely with each one of your guys' matches. But we'll see. We'll see. So, again,